Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Nicole and I like to create fashion DIY videos. So the inspiration for today's video actually came from Urban Outfitters. I was scrolling through their website and I found this interesting like men's pinstripe skirt blazer. I've actually been noticing that blazers, pantsuits, blazer dresses have really been popular. So when I saw this blazer inspired skirt, I just knew I had to try to recreate this. And I thought this would be something that I could probably recreate if I found the right blazer to work with. So I went to Value Village and I stumbled upon this blazer because, well, it's not really a blazer since it's short sleeves, so I don't know if I should be calling it a blazer, but it does have shoulder pads. But obviously the first thing that drew me to this piece was the color, and the second thing that drew me to it was the fact that it didn't have a lining. Oftentimes blazers and jackets can be hard to tackle just because of the lining. It gets really tricky having to work with that extra layer of fabric. So when I saw that this didn't have a lining, I was sold. I haven't started this recreation yet, so hopefully I don't completely butcher it, so wish me luck.
So the first thing I did was cut off the top of the jacket. I cut right below the armpit, making sure there was enough space above the button. Then I used my rotary blade and my ruler to cut. Since this was a jacket and had no shape, I had to taper the side seams to give myself a waist. I initially marked 2 inches, but went back to adjust for 3 inches. I then pinned before sewing and did the same thing to both sides. So once that was sewn, I realized it was still about 4 inches too big, and since I wanted to make things more complicated for myself, I decided to add a zipper closure in the back. To add the zipper, I folded the back of the skirt in half, making sure to align the side seams and the pin I already had in place. Then used the pin to mark the top and bottom of the fold. Then I used my ruler and rotary blade again to cut the skirt in half. Since it was only too big in the waist, I took it in by marking 1.5 inches on either side with my chalk and then marked roughly 6 inches down. This is where the skirt will taper. I used my ruler and chalk to mark where to cut, then used my scissors to cut off the excess fabric on either side. Before I can sew the zipper in, I wanted to add a 2-inch waistband, so I will need to attach that to the skirt so I can sew the zipper in. To create the waistband, I had to get really crafty with the rest of the fabric. I cut up the upper back to get this rectangular piece of fabric. Taking what was remaining from the front of the blazer, I was able to use this piece of fabric with the seam line as my front waistband. I measured 2.5 inches and marked it with chalk. As you can see, the fabric doesn't line up perfectly, so I just tried to adjust it and make it work as best as I could, and then pinned it into place. Next, I took that rectangular piece I cut out earlier and measured a 5-inch strip and cut it out. This is the back of the waistband. I then attached both front pieces of the waistband to the back, pinning each side before I sewed. Once it was sewn, I had to cut the waistband in half. I folded the waistband in half and used the fold as a guide where to cut. I then pinned the waistband to the skirt before sewing. After the waistband was attached, I folded it over and pinned the remaining waistband over the seam and then pinned. Then, very carefully, stitched in the ditch to attach the back of the waistband and then cut off any excess. The final step was to attach the zipper, which I didn't really go into full detail on how I did that. Please let me know if you would like to see a full tutorial talking all about zippers. And the skirt is complete. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and please be sure to hit that subscribe button for more fashion DIYs.